Hi guys, this is Warwick from Casual Chess, back for another 5-minute game today. Still working on moving forward with some new ideas on the YouTube channel at the moment. But for today we're just going to play a regular 5-minute game. Looks like my opponent's going to start with a Scandinavian. I must say I'm never too comfortable with these moves, but that's okay, we can get used to it. What I want to do is play fairly strategically, but reasonably quickly. Looking to place this knight here, now on the d2 square, backing up over there. Now how are we going to go about defending this? Obviously my opponent is looking to move his pawn downwards, there, which would trap my knight. Okay, what I'll do is I'll place my bishop here. That will prevent the idea of a pin, and we'll see how that plays out. Okay, shifted my knight away. I'm expecting now, okay, I wasn't expecting that, I was actually expecting g5, but that's okay. Alright, so I definitely haven't kept up with my opponent's development as much as I potentially needed to, but that's okay. We'll play a defensive game here. I'm going to open up this square for the knight to drop back to, and I'm going to castle kingside. Oops. Okay, all to be expected so far. I think I will castle now. I wasn't looking forward to that move exactly, but my opponent doesn't realize I don't have to retake with a pawn here. You may expect that I would do this, but what I'm instead going to do is Queen G4, check. And now, after my opponent moves his king or blocks, now we'll take on H4 without having to disturb my pawn chain there. By playing F5 forward, my opponent has also prevented me from, I was going to say, enabled my attack on the H5 square, although he's gone and defended that now. So where to next is going to be the big question. I think we'll play Bf4, possibly expecting this to be taken by the knight over here on H5, but if takes, Queen will retake on that square. All expected so far. Unfortunately, H4 is a bit of a threat, so I'm going to play H4 myself to prevent that from being played. And I am a little bit concerned about these pawns marching down the king side of the board, so I'm going to try and sacrifice one of the pawns, the E pawn, off the board. Sorry, play my F pawn to get my opponent's pawn off the board. I believe they have missed a trick here. Queen takes e4 now. So I am okay, so I'm going to play my knight across to the b3 square, targeting the pawn on c5. He's taken now to d4. I'm quite happy to take that. So if I take with my queen, he'll retake with his queen. And on that move, oh pardon me, I was not expecting that. Looks like I've just lost my queen. Very well, we'll do our best to play on. Question is, how will we manage this? Unfortunately, I have to take on this square because this square is covered. And now I'm quite concerned. Again, my opponent can shift his rook across, as he's just done. I don't have any other real options but this. Trying to flee now across the board. It's probably appropriate that I resign, and I'm getting to that point very soon. As soon as I see my opponent coming up with a little bit more of a concrete close for this game, probably something like a6 now. Okay, perhaps not. Something like queen to c5, I think would really close it out. There we go. Game over for me. Unfortunately, we did get the loss today. I have to say it did take my opponent quite a while to close the game out there. He definitely did have the advantage. I would also say that we played reasonably in defense right up until this point here, when I took with the queen there on d4. Really wanted my opponent to take on d4 with his queen, but of course I missed the fact that he can retake on g3 with his queen with check and open up an attack on my queen here by shifting out of the way. So what should I have done in this circumstance? Well, unfortunately what I should have done but didn't see was knight takes d4. After knight takes d4, yes, you've still got taking on that square. However, after h1, I'm protecting this pawn here, and my opponent did not win my queen. I may also have some options to play something like queen to e6 in future. Depends what my opponent plays next. But let's say something like rook to e8. Queen takes e6. Actually, that's not so good, because of course his queen can take there. Okay, well instead of that, what about something like after rook he8 we've got rook f3, potentially forcing his queen to move back out of the game. He can't play here, 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 here without being taken, nor here. So possibly fleeing back to that square. Anyway, we're getting a little bit deep in the analysis now. Obviously the point is, it was pardon me, there was a better way for me to play that. So let's see this real losing move here. Rook takes may have been winning, or at the very least sustaining, but what we did is we played queen takes, and then queen takes down here, and you can see that I'm targeted by that rook there. I'm really losing the game at that point. So, okay. Alright guys, well look, I'll leave it there for the moment. The future content that I was mentioning that will be coming soon, that is still coming, still working on that. I want to get that really nice and refined for all of you, so keep tuned in, and I'll see you possibly in the next video in a couple of days, or maybe I'll spend some additional time working towards that new content I'm producing for you. Okay, well I'll see you in the next one. Thanks guys.